Okay, so let's have a listen to our last instrumental one more time. So this was like the instrumental I created in the style of Solanca of his track Great Belt. It's not exactly the same, but it's in the style. Maybe just close down this filter frequency amount here of the main melody so we're not distracted. Alright, so let's just create a MIDI clip here. And we will start with a kick again with our Deep Premium Volume 6 sample pack. I think the kicks there inside there, they're working with a lot of tracks. Especially those kicks from the Stereo Voltage guys, they did a great work here. So let's just pick a random one, put it on one-shot mode and see how it's working. And now we can switch through them. This is kind of too short, or no, it's too short. This could work out. Too aggressive. This one is again pretty cool, like 12, I like the 12, the kick number 12 here. Too aggressive, 13 is too aggressive. A little bit too clicky. This is pretty clean, but very short. This one is very clean actually, so maybe we will just stick with this kick here. So let's call this one kick. Increase the volume a little bit. And let's just decrease the volume of our bass line just a little bit. And I will add the sidechain to this kick. It was set to a different one before. Okay, cool. So I told you about like adding an ambience into your tracks, and I think this can create like a kind of a nice glue, you know. So all those elements are just like are happening like on a ground, you know, like on a field somehow. So this is like if you think of pictures, it would be the same if you add like texture to an artwork or something like that. So let's create an audio channel by hitting Command and T, Command R, rename it, and let's call this ambience. So I've recorded some ambiences when I was producing my Organica sample pack. So let's check that out. Maybe they're fitting our needs. So what you are searching for here is you can choose whatever you want, you know. If you want to have like a more rainy mood, you just go. Maybe with your recorder you go outside and you create some rain or some street atmo, or in my case I was in the woods with like birds and all that stuff. And a friend of mine, she sent me a voice message a couple of days ago with like she's in Bali at the moment and there are beautiful birds singing there. So waves. You can use whatever you want just to give your track a little bit more interest. Okay, so there's this folder Ambience and Foley. There are not that many inside here, but still a couple of that we can work with. So let's play back our basic track now and the ambience. I think we're going with this one. Insert it here, just cut the beginning a little bit. And now it's way too loud. We just really want this in the background. Let's drag down the volume. So maybe we'll just pick a part where this bird is not singing too much. And let's add an EQ to get rid of some of the low frequencies here because they're in there a lot. Just... Ew, that's cool. And we can add a compressor here as well. That is getting sidechained to our kick. It's this kick, I guess. Yep. So let's increase the volume just a little bit. Okay, so as I said, I want to be a little bit more percussive on this one, so we'll just add a MIDI clip and start with a more percussive style of drum loop now. For this, I would suggest to use a drum rack again, so we can like mix up toms and percussions and all that stuff, and then we can, maybe layer them early on and get a pretty cool groove out of them. So let's call this perc rack and insert a drum rack here by double clicking on this instrument. And now we're just going to our PML packs again, and let's see what we have here. We have some toms here. I don't like those actually, so let's go to my sample pack and pick the toms that I've made here. You know, they're just a little bit more tonal, and I think this is the kind of tom we need for this style of production. I also made tons of perc one-shots. Let's just pick a couple of those. And then we'll just switch through some sample packs and to get different kind of percussions, percs here. Okay. Cool. Some djembe, but it doesn't sound too much like a djembe, so it's okay. This is pretty cool actually. Very low, very tight, very like stereo, very high quality. Like those, it's just, for me, it's too techno-ish and too not unpercussive actually. So maybe just some bongos here. This one is pretty cool. Very knocky, very woody. This could work out like kind of like a clave substitution. Yeah, this could be like a clap layer or something. Let's just check out the snares real quick. They're all too aggressive. Okay, so let's just pick some random ones here out of the sample pack, and I think we're good to go. So let's create a MIDI track here. I think if you're like making a groove, you want to have variation, you know, but you don't want to have too much randomness in it, you know, because if there's like different percussions all over the place, it will sound just super wild and super like, okay, this person hadn't had an idea really, okay? So I would just, you know, go and like create a basic like rhythm, and we can use like the technique from Sebastian Leger, where he's this great online tutorial, and he's just, you know, like putting in notes, and then he's just like randomly blindly deleting some of those, and that's how he comes up with rhythm sometimes. And this is I think this is a super like easy and creative approach, because sometimes we are so stuck in our writer's block that we don't know how to come up with a groove and what is a nice groove, and oh fuck. So sometimes it's easier to delete notes than to add notes. So for example, we could just have a listen to this. Okay, and then what you're watching out for is just your gut feeling, which will tell you, okay, here's a note too much or here's a note too less. So I think there it was. So here we have too much notes here for this tom. So we can just duplicate this over. Let's just play with the tuning real quick. So you can see that here in very small in the left corner, you can see that you will watch out for this yellow light, and then you can just click on your sample, and now you can transpose it really easily. This is the right pitch here. If you don't hear this, you just go to your audio effects, you insert a tuner, And if it's a good tom, a good tonal tom, it should be displayed here in the tuner. Otherwise, it can get a little bit hard to for the program to detect the tune of the tom. But then you can also use, if you have like the FabFilter Pro Q, it has like this implemented keyboard on the downside of the GUI. And then there, where you have like this direct representation of like the band and the keyboard, and this is how you can also find out, you know. So I'm just gonna do this real quick because I think some of you may have this Pro Q. Let's just insert this real quick. Cool. So you can see here. Oh, let's just make this. Okay, perfect. So if we just play this here, you know, you see this bump here. So this is like the tonal center, and now you can just see that this is like an A sharp here, and we can also see that's an A sharp here. So this works as well if the tuner is not working, you know. So we could even go to controls, and now we have the possibility to fine tune our tom here. So let's just detune it down, and now we can see it's getting more in the green area right here. Okay, so now let's just delete this. Alright, so now we've made up like one like very basic rhythm with our tom, and we can even like go in and just change the velocity of some of those notes just slightly, you know, because this is something people are very aware of without knowing they are. The listener, he or she will hear that. So let's just, I'm just doing this randomly here. It just adds a little bit of variation. And we can directly send this into our White and Dirty preset right here. Not too much. And another cool little trick that I can show you is there's this effect called beat repeat. So we have our tom here, which is this one. So now we just want to drag this beat repeat like behind, like in here, okay? Not behind the whole track, but just behind this one sound. And what this beat repeat is doing, it's just if there's something coming in, it will repeat it in a certain way. And this certain way, we can dial that in. And the first thing you want to do is you want to just play with the interval until you hear that it's repeating your note, because this is like the interval is this like kind of how you catch your tone, you know, your sample. Okay, cool. So now the interval is set to an 8th note, so it's taking 8th notes and then it's repeating it in the grid of like a 32 time division. So this is actually pretty cool, you know, you've already heard it's like dung, dung, dung. And now it's doing it not randomly, but if we put down the chance here, it will do it kind of randomly, and it's just adding a little bit of interest to your tom groove. There it was. And now we can just drag down the volume here a little bit, so it's not like the repeated section is not too loud. There we go. And then I would suggest to hit no triplets here, because as I told you earlier, triplets and straight notes, you cannot mix them up together. And then we can just increase the variation here, and this will create just different patterns. Let's just drag down the volume a little bit more. And decrease the chance a little bit so we don't have so much repeats all the time. Let's just increase the volume a little bit.